Yo, so what is good, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video, and for today's video we are going to be simulating the entire NBA career of Cam Boozer. Obviously the number 3 pick. He has sky high expectations here, especially knowing that he has to take over the role of the superstar of the city now with Ja gone. We're going to see if he can fill those roles and can bring a championship over to the Grizzlies, or if he's just going to end up being another one of the top 5 pick bust that we've seen a few times throughout the years, such as Jahlil Okafor and what's looking to be Zachary Risache. You can see what the team's looking like here in year 1. We're going to see how his rookie campaign actually stacks up. And in year 1, the MVP ends up being Wemby, and Rookie of the Year goes to Darren Peterson. I would expect for Cam Boozer to probably make the All-NBA first team here, so let's check it out. And he does alongside some of the other top picks, A.J. Devonta, Darren Peterson, Mikael Brown Jr., and Caleb Wilson. And in year 1, with the young star, we only end up having a 28-win season, being the worst team out west, which is okay in year 1. Despite having a really good, strong, young core here, it was always going to be a gap year when you lose your franchise player in Ja Morant. But as you can see, Cam Boozer had a pretty good rookie season here, putting up 18.6 points per game in his first year at only 19 years old, which is super impressive. The Thunder end up winning it all. And with our record, I have a feeling we're going to have a pretty decent draft pick here. We are slated to potentially have 5. But with these new lottery odds, you never know. And we actually end up jumping up to pick 2. So we can kind of get ourselves another superstar to pair with him. And that ends up being Tyron Stokes out of Kentucky. I absolutely love this, adding another young piece to this already young core and a guy that can develop into an absolute superstar. And in year 2 here, it actually looks like we went out and got Scoot Henderson to play point guard. I guess that we're going to try and have a revival on his career here. And let's take a look at what that contract actually looked like. It looks like we signed Scoot to a 4-year, $130 million contract. So we definitely paid for him, but in year 2, he ends up winning Most Improved Player, which you love to see, especially when you go out and take a limb on a guy who was a former top pick who hasn't really panned out. Unfortunately, in year 2, it didn't really translate to wins, as we only were a 29-win team. And Cam had a little bit of a sophomore slump, which is okay. This team is young, and I'm excited about this core moving forward, especially seeing that Scoot Henderson was able to win Most Improved Player. With the young pieces we have, we are in a really good spot here, as the progression should be even higher for Cam Boozer going forward. And again, we have a pretty decent pick here. We end up taking that 7'7" kid out of Florida, who is going to create a backup Twin Tower feel alongside Edey. And moving us into year 3, Scoot's up to an 88 overall, and Boozer's already up to an 87 overall. Stokes is coming off the bench as the 6th man, and we are getting a versatile young group of switchable players all around. And in year 3, it ended up benefiting us, as we actually are a playoff team this year. So let's check out the player stats and see how Cam Boozer played. And a huge improvement this year, hitting over that 20 point per game mark, now at an 88 overall at only the age of 22 years old heading into the playoffs here. That is fantastic. And Scoot up to an 89 overall is now averaging a double-double, and if he's going to be like a 15, 16, and 10 guy, I will absolutely take that for the contract we brought him in on. As we gear up here for our first playoff series ever in this sim, up against Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and the post-LeBron Lakers, we are down 3-1, so of course we're going to hop into Simcast to see if we can bring this back, or if we need to hop into the game to show what's actually going on. You can see we fight back a little bit here as we get a game, bringing it to 3-2, so we have a close one on our hands here, and we're going to have to hop in to see if we can stay alive. As we hop in, it's all tied up here with 1 minute left. Cam Boozer down low, can he get the tough bucket? And he gets it to go to try and keep us alive here. On the defensive side, Luka is backing us down, and we double team him to leave open a wide open Keon Ellis for a 3. You cannot have that. 7 seconds here. Cam Boozer, showtime, and it does not go. Hey, he needs this playoff experience, so it is okay. We put up a pretty good fight. We'll take 6-game loss in our very first playoff series in this entire sim. It was not a bad series by any mean, and it came down to the wire there to have potentially pushed it to a game 7, so we'll live with that. Heading into year 4 here, everyone is progressing pretty well. Cam Boozer up to a 90 overall, Scoot sitting at an 89, and all of our other pieces around us are getting better and better. Stokes is now slid into that starting small forward position. Kareem Lopez, 6th man. I'm liking what this team's looking like this season to take a big leap, and we do so. While it might not have been a huge jump in seeding, we did win 9 more games than we did last season, which I'll take. A dub is a dub. In the first round here, we are up against the Los Angeles Clippers. led by Darius Garland with Keaton Wilder coming off the bench, and we find ourselves in a close series so far as it's all tied up at 2 apiece here, and hopefully we can make it out of the first round for the first time in this sim. Cam Boozer stepping up there to get us up a game 3-2, and of course we're going to hop into Simcast for a potential closeout game here, and by the 4th, we have a pretty decent lead here, and it looks like we're going to take it 121-98 with some big games from our guys, everyone chipping in a little bit there to get us to the second round here up against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. But as we know, this is a much tougher matchup as they take 3 straight on us and end up sweeping us 4-0. At least we won a playoff series in one of the early years of this sim. It's only going to make Boozer better and better, so we will definitely take that. In year 5 here, it turns out that Wemby actually dipped off the Spurs after beating us in the championship last year, so that's definitely interesting to see him on the Nuggets team, and we're going to see how year 6 ends up going here for us, and we ended up the number 3 seed out west. 52 wins got us the 3 seed this year, which is definitely a lot easier than it was in the past. And for some reason, we wanted to make a trade to trade away G.G. Jackson to bring in an old Miles Bridges and a first-round protected pick. Not what I would have chosen at all if I was the GM, but so be it. We have to rock with what 2K does. In the first round here, it is us up against the Phoenix Suns, led by D-Book and Jalen Green still. So in the first round here, you can see it is a back and forth matchup, and we're actually going to hop into this game here to potentially close it out, as we're up 3-2, and we are down 3 here in an absolutely dagger shot there with the shot clock winding down to tie this game at 110 apiece to potentially move us on from the first round back into the semifinals. And as you can see, D-Book ball, top of the key, pick and roll action to his big man. He gets it done. That puts us down 2 here. Scoot Henderson down to the Green Giant. Zach Edey gets us an easy bucket here, tied up at 112. 1 minute left. D-Book, tough bucket behind the back, puts the Suns up by 2 points here. Scoot Henderson over to Cam Boozer. Cam Boozer time is now, and he does not get it to go on the other side of the court. Down to their big, and that makes it a 4-point deficit, fellas. It's not looking great. It might end up going to a Game 7 unless our guys can step up. And with an illegal screen there from Tyron Stokes, that's all she wrote. We are going to 7, as you can see. 31 there from Cam Boozer, but we could not get it done. Hopefully we can get it done here in Game 7 to move on to the semifinals, because no one wants to be bounced in the first round after tasting the second round last year. And it looks like we are going to have to hop into this one as well, because it is a 2-point game with 1 minute and 30 left. Going to our power forward, Cam Boozer dishes it to him, and he drills it. On the defensive side of the ball here, we have Jeremiah Fears kicking it over to Cam Whitmore in the corner. I'm surprised he's still getting NBA minutes at this time, and he bricks it. Scoot Henderson, other side of the court. Bang, bang. Most improved player of the year coming up clutch. We find ourselves up by 6. Tyron Stokes gets double teamed out of the post to leave an open man in the corner, and that's probably going to be all she wrote here, fellas, to move us on to the second round. We're just going to go ahead and sim to the end because there's no chance they come back at that point. An impressive team effort by everyone there to get that done to move us into the second round here up against the Portland Trailblazers. Let's see what this team is looking like. They have Shaden Sharp, Denny Avila, and they're going with the Twin Towers approach of both Hansen Yang and Donovan Clayton in the starting lineup. That is a lot of size there, but we find ourselves up 2-1, and they are fighting back in this. We are up 3-2. Can we close this out? Let's hop into Simcast and find out if we can finally make it to the Western Conference Finals here. We find ourselves in an absolute dogfight here. There is a 4-point game. We are going to hop into this. But sadly, once we hopped in, it was all downhill from there. We ended up kind of losing kind of comfortably. So this is going to a Game 7 here to either force the Western Conference Finals for the Trailblazers or our Grizzlies for the first time in this sim. And as you can see, again, another close game when we hop into Simcast. We're going to see how this plays out. 2-point game. Hansen Yang cannot get it to go. Walker Kessler grabs the board. We need buckets. Over to the corner, and Cam Boozer drills it. Big time player, big time moment, puts us up 5 here with about 1 minute 15 to go. We need this. We need to move on to the Western Conference Finals and get a shot at the title. They give it back to their guy that possession, and Hansen Yang does get a bucket, making this a 3-point game. Trailblazers get the ball. Shaden Sharp, game on the line, and he bricks it, putting us up 3 here. Slight difference between the shot and game clock, but that is okay. Cam Boozer, ice in his veins. Tough shot, and that's going to be all she wrote, fellas. We are going to the Western Conference Finals. with this team of Memphis for the first time in many years, bringing greatness back to the city in the post-Ja Morant era. But the job is most certainly not done, and even worse, we are up against Wemby again as he switched over to the Nuggets and had an MVP season, if you recall. That's what we're drawing in the Western Conference Finals here. Let's see what we can do. We find ourselves losing the first game, but then grabbing the second, and then we grab the third as well, going up 2-1, grab another two, go up 3-1. The Western Conference Finals could be ours here, fellas, hopping into the potential elimination game, and we don't even actually have to. Cam Boozer is your Western Conference Finals MVP, averaging almost 24, 6 and 6 to go to the NBA championship here up against AJ DeBonta, the #1 pick, and his Wizards team. Do we have what it takes? We find ourselves losing 2 straight to start the series, but that's fine. We have heart. We have fight in us. 2-2. We tie it up. We get a game. 3-2. We have the opportunity to end this series right here. Let's hop into Simcast and see if we can get Cam Boozer his first ring. Looking in the third quarter, it is looking good so far. But in the fourth quarter here, the Wizards are absolutely going nuts on us as we find ourselves down 10 with only like 2 minutes to go. We end up losing that game by 10, so we could not close it out there. This ends up bringing the series to a Game 7, tied up 3 apiece here. We need this. The city of Memphis needs this, and we need to prove we are the best player from this draft class. It is back and forth heading into the fourth quarter here. I have a feeling that we might have to end up hopping into this. It is very, very back and forth, 109-108, with about 3 minutes left. We are starting to pull away, and ultimately, by the time we hop in, we have pulled away quite a bit. We are up by 10 points here with Boozer just chucking up a shot, but thankfully we have the offensive rebounding to get it done. The early struggles he had earlier in his career are all wiped away as the Memphis Grizzlies are your NBA champions, and Cam Boozer brings a title back to the great city of Memphis. The real question is, how did he perform in this game, and did we end up getting Finals MVP for Cam Boozer, or did someone else step up in prime time? Let's take a look in a second when we look at the box score. Scoot Henderson with his goggles calling Cam Boozer over. It is a beautiful sight for that story of bringing Scoot here and him improving so much. And looking at that game, it ends up that Scoot put up 21, 6 and 5, and Boozer 22 and 6 with 3 steals, so it's anyone's trophy here. Scoot ends up going from a guy who was labeled a bust and overlooked to Finals MVP for us there with an impressive season, moving us into year 6. But for now on, when you talk about Cam Boozer, you have to talk about an NBA champion. He has no real other accolades so far in this sim. I'm surprised to not see him get any all-star appearances, but the time will come. And in year 6 here, we end up as kind of having a pretty bad layoff as we're a play-in team after winning an NBA championship, which is pretty insane. Cam Boozer, 94 overall here, averaging 21.8 points per game, and getting himself his first all-star appearance as well as we go up against Wemby in the play-in here, which is no fair. But we beat the Kings, which slots us in as the number 8 seed up against this Clippers team that honestly on paper looks worse than us, so I'm not scared of them. This is going to be the 8-1 upset that you never really see. We're doing it this year. We find ourselves up 3-1, and we end up grabbing it 4-1. It only took 5 games to put the league on notice. The former champs are here. You thought because they were a play-in team that it was over, but we moved on to the second round here up against Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, and the Timberwolves. A tough team to take down here, but we're going to battle, that's for sure. Second round, we are up 3-1 on this team, and we end up knocking them out as well. And it only took 5 games, moving us on to the Western Conference Finals where we are matched up yet again against the Spurs. This time, no Wemby. They have Kareem Lopez playing their big spot, but Dylan Harper is up to a 96 overall, which will be a tough task to negate. We find ourselves up 2-1 in this series. We find ourselves up 3-1. Are we going to knock them out in 5 like we have the last 2 teams in the playoffs here? And it's not looking that way. We hop into Simcast. They grab that game, putting this series 3-2. It's going to be a rough one here. Can we take it here, or are we going to be forced to Game 7? I do not want to see Dylan Harper and the Spurs in a Game 7. I'm not going to lie, but we'll see what happens. And of course, just like writing on the wall, it is going to happen. We are going to have a Game 7 here up against the Spurs. Hopefully we can take this one. It is going to be a tough fought game, but thankfully we start the game with one of the most dominant first quarters I've ever seen in an NBA game as we go up 44-16. That gives us a pretty safe cushion here as long as we don't absolutely fold. We should actually end up taking this pretty easily as well. In the fourth quarter here, you can see we're up about 30 points, and we end up taking it with Cam Boozer getting yet another Western Conference MVP, and it looks like we're going up against the Celtics with Jaylen Brown and LaMelo Ball here in the NBA Championship. Are we going to be able to knock them out? Can we go back-to-back? Let's find out. We end up going up 2-0. We end up going 3-0, and it looks like that Spurs team might have been the hardest team we were going to see all year, and it's going to potentially come down to it. We're going to hop into Simcast here. We find ourselves tied up with a minute left. Cam Boozer, ice in his veins, down low. No one can stop that man. What he has, his shoulder in them looking at the rim. But on the defensive side of the ball, we let them get a quick bucket, tying it all back up. Walker Kessler down low, catches a body. To save you guys some boredom, it comes down to this 4-point game. Chris Murray has the ball. He's getting clamped by Cam Boozer, and he cannot get a shot up. Shot clock violation, Cam Boozer at the line, making it a 7-point ball game here. It looks like we're going to end up cleanly sweeping this Boston Celtics team to go back-to-back. And more impressively, we went from the play-in, the number 8 seed, to an NBA championship here. That just shows the grit and fight of our guys, absolutely symbolizing the city of Memphis. This is what these teams are supposed to be. They are supposed to be hard-nosed and have that never give up, never die mentality, and they definitely did that this year with a super impressive win. Cam Boozer stepping up with 36 points there and getting himself his first Finals MVP of his young career here. Going back-to-back, when you talk about Cam Boozer, you could talk about a 2-time NBA champ and a 1-time Finals MVP. Here's a 93 overall at only the age of 26 years old. Moving us into year 7, this is going to get interesting, guys. And in year 7, there was no fatigue as we come out hot and have a 57-win season. Cam Boozer getting his second All-Star appearance because they keep snubbing him from the All-NBA teams at this point. But our first-round matchup's going to be up against the New Orleans Pelicans here, who definitely do not have as good of a team as us on paper, as Jarrett McCain is kind of their pivotal piece. And hopping into it, we end up taking that pretty easily, no real fight. Second round here, up against Ja Morant. We are up against the former face of the city, who is now with Golden State, versus the current face of the city in Cam Boozer. Who will come out on top? I think it's going to be a tough one either way you look at it. Tied up 2-2. We go down 3-2. We grab a game, though. We do grab a game. We bring this to a 7th game in this series, fellas. Can we bring this home? Can we defeat Ja Morant, or is Ja Morant going to send his former team packing? We end up comfortably taking it 125-109 there, with Cam Boozer dropping 26 and 14 to solidify his run of the face of Memphis. Putting us into the Western Conference Finals here, up against the Dallas Mavericks, who are always a tough out here with Cooper Flag. We end up winning this game 140-108 to push us to a Game 7. And in Game 7 here, we are going to hop into Simcast and see if we need to actually hop into the action. It looks like we have a little bit of a cushion here, but if this depletes, we're going to have to hop in 97-104. And it looks like we're honestly not even going to have to hop in. We end up winning this one by 8 points. Cam Boozer dropping 25, 5, and 5 just about to get it done. We find ourselves hunting for our third ring here, going up against yet again AJ Debonsa and the Washington Wizards. And we know they will not make it easy on us, that is for sure. We find ourselves down 2-0. We find ourselves down 3-0. And are we about to get swept here as AJ Debonsa is going nuts on us? We cannot have that. Come on, guys. Simcast. And unfortunately, it's looking that way. Unless we can come back here, we'll hop into Simcast and see if we have any life. And by the time we hopped into Simcast, pretty quickly, you see that lead went from 6 to 11. It's not looking good. We are not going to win this one. And with that illegal screen there, we are just going to have to hang it up. We end up getting swept here by AJ Debonsa, who averages 29 and 13 throughout the finals there, moving us into year 8 of the sim. A now 27-year-old Cam Boozer, who is officially entering his prime here, who still only has 2 All-Star appearances, but has won an NBA chip twice. In the first round here, we are seeing Paolo Banchero and Nate Ament, who is a different look Clipper squad than who we saw last time around, because before they had Darius Garland and Keaton Wagler. But hey, in the second round here, we are up against SGA and the Thunder after knocking that team out in the first round. And I have high hopes here, but you can never count it out when it is SGA. But SGA and Chet are both kind of unk at this point, so we will see. We go up 3-1, and we end up taking it in 5 here, which you absolutely love to see. 27-7 there from Cam Boozer to help get it done. Moving us into the Western Conference Finals up against a foe that we've seen a couple times here, Jarrett McCain and the New Orleans Pelicans. We find ourselves up 2-0, but they grabbed 2 in a row, telling us that they are alive in this. They grabbed 3 in a row to make this a 3-2 series. Hopping into Simcast here, they could eliminate us right here, and it looks like we're gonna have to hop into it. This is the game to stay alive here. We find ourselves up 3 with about 50 seconds on the clock. Cam Boozer coming off the screen. He does not hit his big man on the roll, which I honestly thought he was going to. He goes down to the post, and he does not get it to go. This is anybody's ball game here. The Pelicans need a 3. Jarrett McCain, and he does not get it to go. I think Edey might have got a little bit of contest on that. Ultimately, we are up by 3 here. 6 seconds between the shot and game clock. Cam Boozer, game time. He bricks it, but Edey is there. I guess if you're going to foul anybody on our squad, you'd prefer it to be Edey, because those big guys like him definitely will brick some every once in a while. As you see him brick that first one. Will he miss both? But he does get the second to go. It is a 4-point ball game. 6 seconds here. Corner, they cannot get it to go. Jarrett McCain bricks it, and that moves us to a game 7 here. And you already know we are going to check out if there is any big moments in this that we need to keep an eye on, but it looks like we might be okay, as I absolutely jinx us. It is tied up here with 1:30 left. Whoever wins this will move on, and we get a big-time bucket there from Tyron Stokes. They go down brick, and right back to Tyron Stokes for another little mid-range post fade. This kid is cooking them on the middies. And after that, it is going to put the game out of reach here for the Pels. So our Grizzlies are going to end up winning this despite a really tough and hard-fought series here. Our Memphis Grizzlies are going to be moving back to the NBA championship with an opportunity to win it all yet again here. So let's see how it goes. Another Western Conference Finals MVP there for Boozer. He is just stacking them up as we again, every year, this is our nemesis, dude. We are up against AJ DeBonta and the Warriors. We get up early on them here, but we end up letting them take 2 in a row after being up 2-0. They take 3 straight on us here. Oh my goodness, this is a dogfight. We are heading into Simcast here, and it looks like they just took 4 straight games on us after us being up 2-0 in the series, and we end up doing an astronomical level fold there. You hate to see it. Moving us into year 9 here. Boozer sitting at a 92 overall. Scoot sitting at a 90 overall here at the age of 30. We end up the number 4 seed and end up pretty much killing our first round matchup, so I just skipped through that for us. Second round here, we are up against the Pels yet again, who gave us some tough battles, and this time they are taking us to 7 again. No surprise. We are going to hop into Simcast and see how this one goes. If we can make our way back to the Western Conference Finals here, or if we are chalked and are going to get eliminated here, let's check it out. Heading into the 4th here, we have a pretty comfortable lead, so it is looking good. We end up taking it by 10 to solidify us going back to the Western Conference Finals there, negating a 37-point performance from their star. Western Conference Finals here up against VJ Edgecombe and the Dallas Mavericks, with Khalil Ware actually starting at center. But this is VJ's team, so we'll see how this one ends up going. We know that he is one of those guys that will fight to the absolute end. So we are in a tied up series here, 2-2. They get a game on us, 3-2. We're going to hop into Simcast here and see what we can do. Either we're going to get eliminated here or we're going to push this to 7, and it's looking good here as we absolutely take off on them and end up winning all 3 first quarters with a pretty huge game there from Boozer, dropping 38 to push this to a game 7, and hopefully the fireworks keep going off here. It is all tied up when we're about to hop in here late in the game. A minute left here. The game is still tied up. Cam Boozer with the ball. 4 seconds on the clock. Cam Boozer step back midi, and he cannot get it to go, but the Green Giant is there. Zach Edey, fee fi fo fum, gets the putback. But on the other side of the court, we do not have an answer for VJ Edgecombe getting a bucket at will. All tied up here. 109, 9 seconds left on the clock. We have the opportunity to send ourselves to the finals. Cam Boozer down low. Will he get a tough bucket? He passes it up to Scoot, who cannot get it to go. This game is going to overtime. And to hop into overtime here, we are down by 1 point here. And Khalil Ware ends up getting the putback there, making it a 3-point game. 1:30 left. Cam Boozer down low. No one can stop him heading towards the rim. 1-point game still on the clock. They go for an alley-oop, but not over Zach Edey. What were you thinking? VJ Edgecombe, tough little floater, making it a 3-point ball game here with 1:12 on the clock. Ball in Cedric Howard's hands with a little behind the back, and he flushes it to make it a 1-point game again here. VJ attempts to extend the lead, but he cannot get it to go. On the other side of the court here, Cam Boozer getting double-teamed, hits Cedric Howard. Legacy Cedric Howard game coming up clutch twice to move us potentially to the Western Conference Finals here, making it a 2-point game. 8 seconds. Unplugged shot clock. VJ Edgecombe, the time is now. Tough bucket. Oh, he cannot get it to go. I don't even hate that for VJ because he will make those sometimes. VJ Edgecombe drops 37 to get dropped off there. Western Conference Finals MVP again going to Cam Boozer. And yeah, you guessed it, AJ Debonta is who we are versing in the finals here. But apparently we have a lot of gasoline to go this time. We end up sweeping them cleanly 4-0. 30 points per game there from Cam Boozer in the finals, ending up getting another finals MVP, moving us into year 10, now a 3-time NBA champion, 2-time finals MVP for the 29-year-old out of Duke. This career is looking super promising, although he still only has 4 All-Star appearances, which makes no sense, but we'll live with it. They can keep snubbing him from the All-NBA first and second team if that's what they need to do to feel better about themselves, guys. But let's see how year 10 goes. In year 10, we end up clobbering our first round matchup, so it was nothing for us to really care too much about. Second round here up against Chris Sinnat, Juan Berenjay, and Amen Thompson. Let's see what we can do against this hungry Houston Rockets team here in the second round. We end up being all tied up at 1. We grab a game. We grab 2 straight. But it ends up going 3-2 here. It ends up going 3-3. We are going to Game 7 here in the second round of the NBA playoffs to potentially lock up a Western Conference Finals berth. But it's not looking great for us here, as by we get to the fourth quarter, we end up losing 140-116. This is the most disappointing season we've had in a little bit here in Memphis. But you can't get to the finals every single year, unless you're the Wizards, apparently, who get another ring there. But that moves us into year 11 here. Now 30-year-old Cam Boozer sitting at a 93 overall. It leads us to the number 1 seed out west here after a disappointing season last year. Hopefully we don't continue to have the same layoff here. We're going up against an UNC version of Tyrese Halliburton and the Lakers, who we make easy work of. Getting to the second round up against the Rockets team that took us to 7 last season. And let's see if we have any better luck here. We end up sweeping them 4-0 up against the T-Wolves in the Western Conference Finals with Ant-Man still and Bronny, who always ends up being a starting caliber point guard at some point in these sims, which is definitely a little crazy, but Western Conference Finals, we end up taking it. Cam Boozer getting Western Conference Finals MVP despite a 47-point game there from Anthony Edwards. Matching up yet again against AJ Debonta and the Wizards, who seem to be absolutely running the table in the East every single season. We go up 1-0, but they grab a game. We go down 2-1. We grab the next game. We tie it up at 2 apiece here, fellas. 3-2, we find ourselves down. Either we push this to a Game 7 or the Wizards get yet another ring. We're about to find out. And in Game 6 here, we are in yet another nail-biter against these guys, and we're going to hop into Simcast to see how it plays out. It's all tied up at 119 apiece here, and after a horrible pass there that AJ Debonta steals, it gives them the opportunity to go up. The Wizards go up 121-119 on us here. We have an opportunity to tie this up. Ben Seraph, let's see what you can do. Can you redeem yourself for that horrible turnover last possession? Tyron Stokes, you kick it to. Tyron Stokes puts up a shot, but it will not go. This is going to make it really hard for us to come back because I don't see AJ Debonta missing these free throws. I'd be really surprised, and he ends up going 2 for 2, making it a 4-point deficit here, which you hate to see. We end up getting the inbound pass over to Tyron Stokes, who ends up driving down low and getting a bucket, but it still leaves us at a 2-point deficit here. We need missed free throws. Colton Hiller bricks his first free throw, giving us a little bit of life here, and let's see what happens here. We are only down 2 with 13 seconds left. It has given us a little bit of rejuvenation here for our guys. Colton Hiller bricks the second, and you mean to tell me, with Zach Edey down there, we let up another offensive rebound? Colton Hiller goes 2 for 2 with the line in his second attempt after going 0 for 2. You hate to see it. What a disgusting way to get knocked out here, guys. That was just absolutely despicable. We end up losing to AJ DeBonta and the Wizards here yet again. AJ DeBonta dropping 32 there. We cannot get it done. Moving us on to year 12 here. Let's see what we're looking like in year 12. Still, we kept a very similar team together throughout this entire career for the most part. We've had a few moving pieces, but for the most part, very similar. In year 12 here, we end up winning our first award of the sim with Clutch Player of the Year, going to Cam Boozer here at a 92 overall and 31 years old. And he's now a 7-time All-Star, but has not gotten an All-NBA team appearance, which is kind of crazy. In the first round here, we find ourselves up against the Dallas Mavericks with the combo of VJ Edgecombe and Darius Acuff, which is definitely scary. They end up taking us to 6 there, but we had enough firepower to get it done. Moving us to the second round here, up against the Kings, who are starting Elijah Arenas. It's nice seeing the Kings actually be good for a change in this sim, but we find ourselves up 3-2 here. Can we get it done here, or are we going to have a Game 7 here against Sacramento? And in Game 6 here, we are back and forth early on. We need a strong fourth quarter to get this really solidified, and it's looking good for us here, but as every time I say it, we end up folding a little bit. With about 2 minutes left, we have a 4 to 5 point lead, and it ends up collapsing to a 1 point lead here. Now we end up folding and end up losing this game by 1 point to Sacramento to get pushed to a Game 7 here, which you absolutely hate to see for our legacy for sure. 29, 5, and 6 there from Boozer. We are going to a Game 7 here to see who is going to end up as your Western Conference qualifier. And let's see, as we hop into Simcast here, we are slightly up in the fourth quarter. We're going to hop into this 2-point ball game, 1:09 on the clock. Cam Boozer, when he is driving, he is not stoppable. We end up going up 4 here with about 1 minute and 5 left on the clock. This is a pretty good team here, though, so we're going to see what they can do. Down low to their big. Their big gets the little jump hook. That makes it a 2-point ball game. We kick it over to Zach Edey, who has one of the craziest shots of all time. He threw that up really far out, and it was just a floater. But the Kings, again, kick it down low to their big, who gets the bucket, making it a 2-point game here. 10 seconds between shot and game clock. Over to Cam Boozer. Kicks it back over. Top of the key, 3. Bang, bang, bang! It's safe to say Scoot had an amazing revival of his career so far with the Grizzlies here, because he has been clutch for us in many moments, as we end up putting it up 127 to 120 after some fouling there. And that's going to be all she wrote. We find ourselves back to the Western Conference Finals yet again here. We are pretty much running the West while the Wizards are running the East. And in that game, you can see Boozer dropped 31, 8, and 6, absolutely killing it there. And still a great game from Scoot, putting up 16 and 16, getting us to the Western Conference Finals here up against Jeremiah Fears, Paolo Banchero, and the Clippers. We'll see what we could do here against this a little bit of an unk squad at this point. Let's see how the Western Conference Finals plays out. We find ourselves down 2 games to this squad. We find ourselves down 3 games to this squad. We get a game back, though. Let's not get too crazy. We get 2 in a row. Let's see what we could do here, fellas. 3-2. We need 2 straight, and we end up getting bounced with Paolo at his old age at this point getting Western Conference Finals MVP. Clippers end up actually winning it all, taking down the Wizards surprisingly enough, moving us into year 13 here. The squad is looking very similar, and we have a 90 overall Boozer, who is now a 7-time All-Star, so let's see how we do this season. And in the first round, we pull the matchup of going up against Victor Wembanyama, who is still sitting at a 96 overall, and his Nuggets team, who ended up coming in as the number 8 seed, which is not a great 8 seed to pull. They took it to a Game 6 against us at the very least. Boozer had a pretty strong performance there, but we still end up getting out of it. So second round here, we are up against the Mavericks. Again, a team that we've seen many times. Will VJ Edgecombe finally be able to get the leg up on us? And he ends up knocking us out in 6 there. With how much we battled, I kind of feel for him. Anyway, moving into year 14 here, and now 87 overall Boozer. So it's looking like in year 14 that we actually might have missed the playoffs. So let's check out the standings here. And we only have 33 wins, which is kind of crazy. And when I'm looking at the squad, well, we have no Cam Boozer. So what happened during the season that we are no longer with the Memphis Grizzlies? So we ended up getting traded to the Lakers, it looks like, for a younger guy in Walt Clark that I guess that they think has a little bit more upside for them moving forward as we are later in our career. So we are in the first round matchup here, where we are yet again facing up against VJ Edgecombe and the Dallas Mavericks, but this time we are a Laker. So we are going to finish out the rest of our career with the Lakers, it's looking like. We end up losing this one in 6, though, with Boozer dropping 15-4 on his new squad. The Wizards end up winning it all yet again, and if you want to see why his career ends up going so well, we did drop an AJ DeBonta sim as well about a week ago, so it would not be a bad call to check that one out. In year 15 here, we end up not making the playoffs with this Lakers team that tried to make a move by adding Ace Bailey, it looks like. We ended up just missing the play-in here, so we're going to have to watch the finals here from the sideline and checking out the stats there just to see kind of what an aged Cam Boozer did on the season. He still had a pretty good season here as he put up 15.7, 4, and 3 at now only an 84 overall. Dylan Harper winning it all there with the Spurs. So we're going to check out at the end of this season here if that ends up meaning retirement and potentially the Hall of Fame here. So let's check out player retirement and see if that was where we call it for Cam Boozer. And let's check it out. It looks like that is it for him after 15 seasons in the league. Him and Caleb Wilson are both retiring at the same time. We will have to see, since he didn't get any All-NBA appearances throughout his career, if it was still enough to get him into the Hall of Fame here. So we'll check that out. He obviously had a great career. 7 All-Stars, 3-time champ, and 2-time Finals MVP. I would say that he probably should make it. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think that he's going to be making All-NBA teams when he actually becomes the star of this team this upcoming season and throughout the rest of his career? Or do you think that this is a pretty realistic trajectory for him to take? If you guys haven't checked out any of the other videos, we made one for Darren Peterson, we made one for AJ DeBonta, and we just dropped one for LaMelo and the T-Wolves. So all of those are definitely ones that you should check out if you have not. If you watched all the way through, please let me know down in the comment section so I can give some love for that, because I do love the people who watch all the way through with me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.